Hello folks, and we're in the Cornfield Mens Shed in Ballysally, and I've got David
McNamara.
David McNamara, otherwise known as Mac, who's the leader of this men's shed, and welcome. Now tell us a little bit about the men's shed. What does it
The men's shed, the concept behind the men's shed actually started about 12-13 years ago in Australia. And it was two gentlemen that were of retirement age in the shed at the bottom of the garden, started discussing about the various skills they had and how they could utilise it by passing it on to others. And they then applied to the local council or district, whatever it is in Australia, and they were given use of a public building and got guys together and they started a men's shed. And then it just rolled out across the world, and to my knowledge, there's around 12,000 across the world at this moment in time.
Yeah. Ah, so the men's shed here, it's been going for how long now? About 2 years, isn't it?
The men's shed itself has been open for 2 years, but it's actually been located on this site for 4.5.
Yeah.
When we first came here, there was nothing. There was just a little wooden shed at the bottom of the site, and the building that we're stood in now is built from shipping containers.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just expanded slowly from there. The pandemic obviously closed us down for near on 2 years, and then what we built in the first stage was too small because we quickly realised the numbers we were getting through the door were greater than what we initially expected, which is a great thing. And we started an extension, and again, because of the pandemic, we were slowed down for that. So we've been running now 2 years.
Right. So how many members do we actually have here?
We have 41 on the books, although they don't all attend at the same time. We tend to find on a Tuesday and a Thursday, which would be the busiest days, we'll have 12 to 15 guys in. Yeah.
So what is the ethos of the men's shed?
Just look at the show. Just look at the banner behind us. The only ethos behind it is men talk shoulder to shoulder because they're used to talking in a workspace, whereas women, they will call their friends, they will go and sit in a cafe, have a cup of coffee and they'll sit face to face, whereas men don't. They're used to working on production lines or on a building site.
Do you think it encourages the men in the shed here to talk properly? Are they taking benefit of that, talking about things that they probably wouldn't talk about?
Definitely. One of the great benefits of that is there's always somebody that's suffered something. Let's take, for instance, cancer. A couple of years ago, we brought somebody in for prostate cancer, and after that individual left, a lot of people were saying, well, you know, they come here, they tell you this, they tell you that, they tell the other. We then realised that we had a member that had prostate cancer, and he was able to say, yes, what they're telling you is correct, however, you need to be aware of this, this and this, and the importance of any blood in your stools or anything of that nature, get it checked. You know, they're not just saying it for the benefit.
Technically, we don't tend to talk about things like that, do we?
No, we don't. No.
We tend to bottle it. I mean, you know, if you're a bloke, you don't tend to go to the doctors unless you're pushed by the wife to go.
That's it, and then when you go to the doctors, they eventually say, why have you left it so long? Whereas when they're in here, you know, guys can come in and say, I've got a bit of an issue at the moment, you know, has anyone experienced this before? And the guys can open and say, you need to go and get that checked, or don't worry about it, it's nothing to be concerned about.
So what skills can men, because obviously, I mean, we're in a workshop here, and there's plenty of tools around. What skills can be learnt in the men's shed?
The skills that can be learnt will vary depending on shed. In this shed particularly, we've got an individual who's very good at wood turning, and he is able to teach 2 or 3 other individuals to wood turn, and they've now reached such a level of that we're sending them away on a course to improve their wood turning skills, and in benefit they'll come back and then teach others. We've got retired electricians. The only thing with that is they can teach you the basics, but because everything in that is licensed, you do anything electrical, it needs to be licensed.
You can fix things if you feel confident enough, Alan.
Very much so, but it would always be signed off by a qualified electrician at the end of it. Wood working in here, we do a lot of repairing stuff. Individuals who walk in off the street and say, I've got this old garden bench, is there anything you can do with it? And sometimes they're absolutely blown away by the transformation. The guys will strip it down, sand it, stain it, paint it, put it back together, and it looks like a brand new bench compared to the rickety old thing they brought in. Repair cafe is another concept that we're running with at the moment, where individuals can bring in anything and we'll have a look at it. We'll say, we can fix it, we can't fix it, or that's going to cost too much to be repaired, to recycle things. So things looking
How's the
forward.
response been on things like that?
The repair cafe is getting busier and busier and busier every time. Initially we opened it, we were quite sceptic about it because there was a couple of other groups that was doing it, and listening to what they were saying and listening to what individuals that had been to them were saying, there was a demand for more and more and more. So we now run one on a monthly basis, and it's complete volunteers that would come in and pass on their skills, varying skills, woodworking, needlecraft. We've one guy that fixes musical instruments. We've had one guy that's fixed a clock that the individual owner was told couldn't be fixed, and this gentleman was able to fix it, so the individual went away absolutely delighted. So basically, skills are dependent on what volunteers come through the door, and we'll try and utilise it. We'll say, you know, can you teach me how to do this? Can you teach me how to do that?
What about recreational pastimes?
Recreational pastimes, there's a number of different things we can do. We generally say to guys, is anything in particular you would like to do? They like fishing here in this particular shed and one of the other local sheds at Laurel Hill. So we have a local carp fishery, trout fishery, mixed course fishery at Moorbrook, run through the Ashes for Gold project, and through a partnership with them we're able to take the guys up there 2 or 3 times during the year. We go just for a day here and a day there, 3 or 4 hours, it's enough. Guys get bored if they're not catching things, and generally it's an enjoyable day out. We've got one coming up shortly. It's about foraging. Yourself came to us and said, any chance we could do some sort of foraging? We looked into it, we basically threw it back at you and said, well, if you want to do that, who can do it? Because you've obviously got to have the expertise to do it. And we've got an expert that's coming in the next month. He's going to take the guys out. They'll forage around for stuff and then bring it back here, cook it and eat it. So it's a new concept completely, so we'll see how that one goes.
It'll be interesting, that one.
What else do we do? Let's have a think.
I noticed we have the pool table out there in the darts pool.
Yes, there's a pool and the darts outside, which are very, very popular and very, very competitive. And we'll also go on trips. We've went on Titanic Quarter last year. We went to the Transport Museum, the Ulster Folks Museum in Omagh. So we like to get out and about whenever we can, but obviously that's down to funding and grants.
Nice. So how can people join if they want to join?
They just turn up and walk through the door. We have the men's shed, when it was initially set up, was set up for guys that were 55 years or above. Basically, they're retiring, they're just looking for a bit of company. But we found that at the beginning of the pandemic that a lot of youngsters, not the pandemic, sorry, the financial crisis that happened in 2007, a lot of youngsters were losing their jobs and becoming very suicidal. And unfortunately, a lot of young men took their lives, and females took their lives in the local district. So we dropped the age straight away down to 25, because we were approached through public health agencies and different other agencies, and we dropped it to the age of 25, and we got a massive influx at that time of guys coming in, and they found it really beneficial.
Do they stay as well? Are they stayers?
It depends. A lot of the younger ones would have come in and done this for something to do, rather than sitting at home all day with the missus and the kids. They would use this as an escape. And once they've been offered work, they've gone back into work. We tend to find the majority of the guys that would come here of retirement age, or for medical or physical reasons, they're not able to work anymore, and they would come here and enjoy the facilities for what they are.
And what's the time frame that you open at?
We currently run 5 sheds within the Causeway Coast and Glens area, and there's a shed open on every single day of them. This one in particular, the Cornfield site, is open on a Monday, Tuesday and a Thursday, 10:30 until 2:30. Port Stewart is open on a Tuesday and a Thursday from 10:30 until 3, and Laurel Hill is open on a Wednesday from, let me get this right, Wednesday is 10:30 until 2 o'clock.
And I take it members of each individual shed can go to any shed?
Yes, once you become a member of the shed, and once individuals have first approached us and showed interest in coming, for insurance reasons, we need to get them to sign on to become a member. And once they become a member of one shed, they become a member of all the sheds that we ourselves run.
It's certainly a very beneficial experience, I must admit.
Well, I've been doing this job now for 11 years and I find it very, very rewarding.
Yeah.
You've always got a plan of what you would like to do when you come in, but that can change at a moment's notice. When somebody comes in and says, I've got a wee issue, what can we do about this now? If I don't know, I can ring somebody else that will know. And we'll be able to get the individual sorted.
Right.
One of the other things we offer, although we don't do it on site here, individuals can go, is counselling. We have a connection with various agencies, and if an individual feels as though he needs counselling, we'll bring a counsellor in. They will assess them to see what type of counselling they need, and then we'll get appropriate counselling.
Hummingbird's quite strongly involved with this, isn't it?
Hummingbird, yes, they work outside the counselling, but they're like an interface group where they'll come in, and they're very good at dealing with disputes. And they will come in and look at it from a completely different aspect, and generally they get very good rewards from that.
So the motto of the Men's Shed is be safe, be well.
No, that is Be Safe, Be Well is the organisation that runs the Men's Shed. The motto is we talk shoulder to shoulder.
Shoulder. Yeah, well, there you have it. This is the Cornfield Mens Shed. If you are interested in joining this, just come up here and join us. And Matt will be more than happy to talk you through and show you around.
No bother at all, thanks sir.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
No
We open the match.